Oh, what are we doing back on this menu? Alright, that's right, we're done with our journey. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to more Pokemon Heartgold Soulsilver. Last time, we ended our main journey and defeated the champion. This time, we start a massive post-game. And we gotta talk to our mom. I haven't seen her in a while. Hi, Gold. Professor Elm told me that he has something to give you. Not even a I love you or wow, that's so cool, I became champion. That's okay. That's okay. I bet Professor Elm will tell us about our accomplishments, right? Let's see. Gold, there you are. I called because I have something for you. See, it's an SS ticket. Now you can catch Pokemon in Kanto. What? So did I not just become champion? The ticket will let you take the fast ship that departs from Olivine City. But you knew that already, Gold. After all, you've adventured all over with your Pokemon. Give my regards to Professor Oak in Kanto. So, that is going to be a lot of our post-game, is our journey in Kanto. We're going to be able to explore all of the region. I don't have anything. Okay. We're going to go to Cherry Grove real quick, because what I want to do actually isn't in Kanto. It's something that just unlocks right after the post-game begins. And it's something I want to show off early, because I want to be grinding this while I explore Kanto, because there's a lot of useful rewards you can get from it. Those that have played this game probably know what I'm talking about, or just any Gen 4 game in general. It's very fun. It's probably a common staple in the series. So we're going to cut to when I get to Olivine City. Here in Olivine, I got my fly with me. We're just going to keep him because, well, there's no encounters that I need. This place over here, the Battle Frontier. It is now finally unlocked. The dude that was sleeping there, or he was waiting, he's sleeping. He's standing, but asleep. He waited for so long that now we're the first ones who could be here. Wait for me! Oh, he woke up. Oh my, I fell asleep and ruined my chances of being the first to arrive here. Stupid me. Welcome to the... Is this the Frontier Access? Anyways, but when you change certain rules and limitations, the battle suddenly becomes more fun, and this place can have such fun. It's called the Battle Frontier. There are so many things you can do. What am I going to do if I get beaten to a pulp? You look quite young. I will pull myself together and challenge the Battle Frontier. Maybe. Gonna talk around and just go talk to these houses, I guess. If you become a bit of a fanatic about battles, I'm the guy who can teach your Pokemon all kinds of moves. Here at the Frontier Access, there are a lot of move tutors and TMs and items that you can get. One of these being the BP. If you thought the move tutor and Blackthorn didn't have much here, you can learn a lot of random moves just out of nowhere from here, and a lot of compatibility. I'm the guy who can teach your Pokemon all kinds of moves, but you're just going to need BP, and getting BP is kind of a hard thing to get, and you don't get much, but hey, that's why we grind here. So these three guys, they basically just teach moves. See if like I can go to Lumina, I can learn Aqua Tail, Signal Beam, Bounce, things like that. Yes, I want to quit moving. Let's go to a Pokemon like Typhlosion, who doesn't have that much. Well, yeah, let's go see Fuego. What can Fuego learn? All those moves and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. You might want to come here and start grinding these, which is why I want to show off anyways, because I don't want to have like a random move and then you'll be like, what? Whoa, all 6 of them. Is this your first visit? Right this way, please. Oh, you have a Versus Recorder. How nice. We upgrade Versus Recorders for first-time visitors for Battle Frontier use. I'll borrow yours for a moment. Let's see, slide over this part here, and tick chunk, and right here. All done, here you go. Other staff will be pleased to explain how the individual facilities of the Frontier's operator. I can go over general topics. Might as well. You have like the basic rules. All of them have special rules, no EXP, no battling level up at 50 level 50 rules chosen. Higher levels will be reduced to level 50, but under, they get an upward adjustment. Battle points, it's pretty self-explanatory. You get points for battling. And yeah, that's kind of how it works. Those other 5 people will explain each individual tower, but I feel confident enough in my ability to explain it a lot because holy shit was this my childhood. Welcome to the Frontier. This is exactly copied and pasted from Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum if you ever used that, if you ever played those, so yeah. Not the island itself, just this main part here. Alright. You can see a little map of the frontier as well. It kind of makes a start. What I do want to show off are these markets. The top left, you get some scratch-off cards of 1 BP. Hidden on each scratch card are items, or icons of Pokemon. You win a prize, like a berry. Also, Dittos can transform into the Pokemon. It's like a wild card. We do not have BP, so we cannot buy any, but what you will get are tons of just competitive berries, like Iapapa or Persag or stuff like that. It's a lot of good items if you want berries. Exchange Service Corner. We will get a lot of competitively viable items here. You also get the iron, zincs, calciums, proteins, vitamins that boost stats, fighting items such as the Toxic Flame, Toxic and Flame Orb, White Herb, Bright Powders, Focus Sash. These are very useful items. And you also get the Scope Lens and Razor Fangs. And let's check over here. Power Bracer and the Power Rams, of course. What I specifically wanted to show off was this right here. We get the bottom right, which is TMs. They categorize them into the Physical Special Split and Status. Physical attacks, so Aerial Ace, Brick Break, X's, or U-Turn, Stone Edge, Earthquake. These two are must-wants if you want to play this. Special attacks, you get Shadow Ball, Energy Ball, Dragon Pulse, Sludge Bomb. I've had Acid on Venus for so long, and I know it can learn Sludge Bomb, it's just only through TM. I'm going to be grinding up to 80 battle points just so I can get this Sludge Bomb. I know, it's going to be a while, but I wanted to show that off so when I randomly have Sludge Bomb, it's just, I have it. Calm Mind, Bulk Up, Will-O-Wisp, Attract, Thunderwave, Toxic. All of those are just, you know, whatever, but... Oh my god, the moves here. So good. And in this episode, we are going to be going over all 5 towers. Now, a lot of this is going to be rough, just live commentary right off the bat. So, in and out, whenever I'm explaining things, I'll probably switch from in commentary to out of commentary, and yeah. But first tower for me, it's self-explanatory. Anyways, yeah. This is the main building. This is the battle tower. Never lose, keep winning. And just before you enter, the judge tells you your Pokemon's potential. There's a judge here, like... Where's the judge? Hold on. There we go. There's the judge. It's not actually my real name, but that's what everyone calls me. It's because of this weird power I have. It's a gift, really. Go over here, select one of your Pokemon. Let's go with Fuego. I see. Relatively superior potential overall. That's my... Okay. Potential lies in its special attack. So this guy over here, he will actually tell you the highest IV of a Pokemon, and IVs are basically like an individual stat that makes each Pokemon unique. It's a range of 0 to 15 and applied to all stats randomly. And he'll just tell you what the biggest stat is, so Fuego having a high special attack is very good. And yeah. So, this tower also has 3 different ways it can be played. Multi-battle, which is battle with someone in doubles, which is going to be this left option right here. This middle one is going to be the single player option, and the right is online against other people. We're going to go to the middle, because, you know, I'm single player. And we're going to challenge. Let's go for single battles. I'm not very good at double battles. Too much strategy for me. We're going to line up. Right, 3 strongest Pokemon right now, I guess. Lumina, Amethyst, and Fuego. I don't have Beetlejuice with me, so... And you're going to have to save every time, because, you know, you're doing a feature. Take me through the elevator. And to this wonky room. Specifically the 3rd one, I guess. My daddy is a real mountain man. Does that make my mom a mountain woman? That's cool. Okay. We don't really get an explanation, but this is basically the easiest one. So, on to the post-commentary. Well, you get to see, I basically get to leave you with the post-commentary me, so here we go. The Battle Tower, like I've mentioned many times, is the most basic of the 5 towers here, and is kind of box standard. The judge, like I've also mentioned before, is going to be a very important guy. Knowing all those IVs are going to be very important because the Pokemon here are going to be specially trained, and you're going to want to know that to have the to maximize the efficiency of your Pokemon. With that being said, let's actually start talking about the battle tower itself. You're going to see the gameplay and just what I'm going through with Lumina and all my team members in the background while I talk about it. But basically what happens in the battle tower is battles last until you lose. You keep going, try to build the biggest streak as possible for as long as possible, and you keep going. It's always going to be 3v3. You never know what's going to happen next, what next Pokemon your trainer's going to have. So just be wary of that. It's also just like online. You're not going to know what they send out next. They're just going to send it out, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And in single player, what I'm playing right now, you're going to have 3 Pokemon, and in doubles, you're going to have 4 Pokemon. Now, how do we earn battle points? Battle points are going to be rewarded in sets of 7. You cannot earn anything until you get to the 7th gym badge, or not gym badge, the 7th battle trainer, and then you're going to go and immediately get that from our lovely lady guide right after. Pokemon are set to 50. If they're underleveled, they aren't going to be raised to 50, which sucks. So as you can see right here, Lumina is going to be level 47, and everybody else is going to be level 45 where they're at. And once you're done with that, you must retire in order to leave. Other than that, you're going to be stuck here forever. You see right here that you can also have a rest. This will send you to the main menu, and once you log back in, it'll take you back to your save file, and you'll continue where you left at. You can also just continue. At 21 battles, each tower, you can challenge a Frontier Brain. Basically like a mini-boss for that said building. And they stack up all the way until like 70, I believe, where it is a super boss. I'll show off this guy right here. I believe the tower for the super boss for this tower is Palmer. And a lot of these characters are going to be very character dependent on these Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, because this is when the Frontier was introduced. So within context, you know, we just know Palmer as the Frontier Brain. All the stuff that is given to us through Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, there's a lot of character development and building that they give us there, but not in here. Going back to the point of these actual super bosses is that you get an increased amount of battle points for defeating them. I believe the first one that you get is 20 BP, and the second battle that you get with the Tycoon, is what they're called, is another 20 BP. So you want to get to those super bosses and actually get that full reward instead of earning, you know, just the basic for the sets of 7. And with that, that is the battle tower. All these people just talking here. Yeah. We're gonna go clockwise. We're gonna go over to the right, which will be, I believe, the battle factory. If I'm not mistaken. Yes, one consecutively with rental Pokemon. This one is easily. I don't really like this one. I don't like rental Pokemon, but that's just me. Once again, 2 ways. Actually, there's only 2 ways this time. Left is single player. The green one is always be single player, and the right is multiplayer. Yes, they're designed for a single turn. Okay, single battle and open level. Actually, let's 50 level cap it. Open level is just everyone is at 100. Whereas 50 is all Pokemon are level 50. So I don't know what open level means when really let's just say 100, but you know, whatever. But we're gonna cap it at 50. And we're gonna save the game because we have to do it every single time. Done a bit of research into your next opponent. You can expect to see Starly, Farfetch'd, and Geodude. First, we will hold your Pokemon in exchange for you entering our Pokemon. May I suggest choosing Pokemon after appropriate deliberation. And we receive our rental Pokemon, and here we go back into post-commentary. See you guys. The Battle Factory. This is just the tower, but with rental Pokemon. With these rental Pokemon, you can check all of their stats. They're going to have a predetermined moveset, nature, held item, all the things like that. So you want to make sure that you look at all of them. You have 6 options. You can only choose from 3 of them, and usually they're unevolved. But as you go on, you can get stronger Pokemon. And how you do that is with, you know, obviously you go into the fight, and you go 3v3, and then you come back out. You can also have the option to take Pokemon and change your team after the fight. But there's a catch. You cannot take from the original 6 that you have. You have to take only from the opponent that you just faced. So let's say you faced at a trainer with terrible Pokemon like a Geodude, a Dunsparce, and maybe a Riolu. And you want to take that Riolu. You have to defeat that trainer before you can take that Riolu, and then you got to replace it with one of your Pokemon, only having 3 at a time. Double battles, again, is at 4 Pokemon, and you have 6 options. Once again, you can choose from the 4. 50 has all Pokemon at level 50, as usual, and open level is everybody at level 100. I know that's a bit confusing. At first, I would think open level is whatever level your Pokemon are at, but then it's just 100. So I guess that makes sense. Not really. The only thing that kind of brings this down in value for me in terms of all the 5 towers that we get to play here is the fact that we know the teams beforehand. You know that they have a Starly, a Farfetch'd, and a Geodude because that lady told us beforehand, so I kind of build my team around what that person has. That's about it. Although, it does not tell you what moves they have. So, they could have a Starly, but, we don't know that they have close combat. So, if I try pulling out a rock type, oh no, I get countered, which is kind of a bright side to the downside, but not really. Just like the Battle Tower, you earn battle points in sets of 7. There's Frontier Brains, and you'll get 20 for those. We're not going to go over that because we already went Palmer. You can go find out yourself. On to the third building that we could possibly play is in the bottom right. Battle Arcade, where events sway outcomes. This is probably where we start getting into the wackier towers with the quite a gimmick, I should say. I do want to change team members, though. I do want to get Beetlejuice out here because there's something relating to him that is very good in this event. Alright, now that we've got that, let's go on the left side because, once again, we're only single playing. Yeah, it's gonna be like that forever. I hope not. Alright, we're gonna enter you first, and let's give Venus and Cairo a shot. They haven't been doing anything. And we're gonna save the game. They're gonna save the game once again, and once we're done with the save, we're gonna go back into explanation mode. Welcome to the Battle Arcade. First, I'll need to hold on to any items held by your Pokemon. Game number 1, come on. Without further ado, let's activate the game board. 2, 1, here we go. What do we get? I have to hit the button on the screen. This is our current event. Here you go. Gold Pokemon will be loaned with the Person Berry. That's the one that we got. Alright. Sorry for looking so scruffy and dirty. I've been holed up in the mountains. Welcome to Pokemon Battles, except we add a roulette. This is what you get, the Battle Arcade. Spin a wheel before a match with your opponent, and there are a ton of different results. Not all of them will be on the wheel at once, but there are a ton of them. Each wheel that could be spun could be either applied to you or the opponent, or it could be applied to both. Things that could be applied to you or the opponent could be lowering foes' HP, all Pokemon are poisoned, paralyzed, or burned, or put to sleep, even frozen. Foes get berries or items, foes have increased levels, or it could be lower. Things that could be applied to both people are things like weather, sunny, rain, sandstorm, hail, maybe even fog, which was something introduced in Diamond, Platinum, and Pearl. Or you could have a Trick Room condition, or you could swap Pokemon with the foe. There are a lot of different things that could happen. You could also just straight up change the wheel. You could speed it up, speed it down, make it random, or you could just straight up not battle, move on to the next opponent, or battle with no event, straight up. Or you could even just straight up get BP. There's a get 1 BP or get 3 BP, and you don't need to battle. There is somewhat of a timing to this roulette that, if you can master, is very unfair, and what makes it even more unfair is that only you, the person, not the AI or the NPC, only you get to spin it. Never does the other person spin it. So it is completely up to you, and you can determine the outcome, which arguably makes it heavily in your favor. If you want to end up grinding this one, that alone is a reason why you should go straight for the 49 or the 70 that you want. It's just because you can sway the outcome in your favor so much. But also another reason you want to try this is because if you have a Pokemon with Guts, that is an amazing ability to have during this. If there's a chance to get a burn on it, you can just simply time it, your Pokemon gets burned, and then you have that stat increase, and it just goes crazy. Nothing can even compare to it. And chances are that the other team is not going to have a Pokemon with Guts. If they do, then that was extremely miscalculated, but hey, now the playing field is still even. You can also rarely, but if you have the option to, you can play off of weather. If you have like an ice type, like a Sneasel or a Piloswine, you can play off of hail, because there's not going to be that many ice types that you see hardly ever in this challenge. which is one of the reasons why I typically dislike this one, is just because of how cheesable it is. But at that point, you can't fault the game. It's just the player chooses to cheese it. And also, grinding for battle points is quite the daunting task. So if you ever have to need to resort to something, resort to this one. And with that done, let's go over to possibly my favorite one, the Battle Castle. So fancy and delicate. I'm your guide to the single and double battles. Please be aware that these challenges are designed for a single trainer. Yada yada yada. Where's my cup of tea? Lumina, Beetlejuice, and Amethyst. That's a combo we haven't seen yet. Yes, we're gonna save the game. Welcome to the Battle Castle. My name is Darach. I will be your host on behalf of Lady Caitlin, the owner of this castle. First, I must ask you for any items your Pokemon are holding. They will be returned to you when you leave. Next, I have here 10 castle points, CP, that can only be used here. Please, these are you for accept them. Please choose what you wish to do.
Now it's time for the most in-depth of the 5 in my opinion, possibly my favorite, the castle. Upon entry, you get 10 castle points that you can spend throughout the rounds on yourself and the opponent. Starting with what you can buy on yourself, you can heal your Pokemon's HP, PP, both, or buy items for use inside the castle battle, such as berries. You can also rank up these benefits, and they are divided into 3 categories: recovery, item, and info. Recovery goes up to 3 levels, 100 CP for each. Item goes up to 3 levels, starting with 100 CP, then 150 CP, and then info, which only goes to 2 levels for just 50 CP. What can be done to the opponent are things like increase or decrease their levels by 5, see their Pokemon, or view their stats and moves. You can only do all of the strategizing before the battle, and once you go in, you get led into the castle, in which Lady Caitlin, the princess of the castle, sits atop her throne and judges you the battle. This is how you gain more CP, and it varies depending on how well you fight the battle. There are certain conditions the player can try to meet for more CP. These conditions include things like number of Pokemon that did not faint, number of Pokemon with full HP. If your Pokemon did take HP, how much do they have? They'll deduct based on how much HP they have and what zone they're in. Number of Pokemon with no status ailments, and how much PP did you use in battle. There is a reason for increasing the opponent's level, and that's because there is a condition in which it gives you a multiplier of 7 for every Pokemon that you give 5 levels. So if you give every single Pokemon the opponent has plus 5 levels, that would be 3 times 7, then boom, there's 21 castle points automatically just by winning. While this might be a little bit of a spoiler, the Frontier Brain is in fact the butler and the princess of the castle. The reason I mention this is because after your first time defeating them, you get an option called Passing for 50 CP. Because I've played this one probably the most, I do have some tips and strategies for how to easily get a big streak in this one. And the first tip would be to never rank up. Just keep battling as normal and heal if you need to. And if you're nervous, just check an opponent out for 1 CP. Try and build CP as early on as possible. The second tip would be for the first 3 streaks getting to 21, level all of your opponent's Pokemon up by the 5 levels so that you get extra CP every time you win. Instead of getting CP in the high 20s, you'll probably get them in the high 40s because your beginning Pokemon that you'll be facing are going to be a lot weaker and a lot easier to take out. Once you have your first battle with Mr. Butler, you should have around the high hundreds of castle points. Now you can safely check your opponents, and if you don't like them, you can just pay 50 CP to skip them. I usually decide my passes by whether or not I think their leadoff Pokemon is going to be a pain in the ass or not. Make sure you don't skip too often. You want to have enough CP left over so that when you get to the brain battle, you have enough CP in which you can level down each of the Pokemon, which costs 15 CP each. And plus all the healing and stuff they have to do on your own part if you didn't skip the battle before. And plus all the healing and stuff they have to do on your own part if you didn't skip the battle before. And then the castle, just because of how easy it is to fly to the 21st battle.
Stupid Ralph, always trying to call me. I don't have time for your shenanigans. I've got a battle frontier to conquer. Did I just go the wrong way? I did. Alright, you want to go up here. And our last facility that we need to take on is the Battle Hall. Let each Pokemon seek number 1. Battle Hall is quite the interesting one. It's definitely my second favorite, if I had to say, though. I'm your guide to the single. Yeah, we've heard this like 5 times. You're just copy and paste. We're gonna go into a single battle. Who do I want to enter? That's a good question. You know what? Lumina's been taking on everything, so... Do we want to enter Fuego? No, let's go Lumina. You're going to want as much type coverage as possible in this hall. That is what I recommend heading into this. You're going to need it because it's quite the interesting concept, and I actually quite enjoy it. Quite the jumpy and cheery music. Onto the runway we go.
The Battle Hall is unique from any other facility in the Battle Frontier, and how? Well, there are 10 battles per round instead of the usual 7. But it's a fair trade-off. Every battle is a one-on-one, so realistically it's just 10 battles instead of 7 sets of 3. That'd be like 21 battles. I don't know. I think it's a fair trade-off. Before we begin, before you enter the Battle Hall, before you do anything, I want to say that you must do all of this with one Pokemon only. If you start a streak and then you come back and you try to use a different Pokemon, you're gonna lose that streak. You have to use it with only one Pokemon. Alright, on to the actual gimmick of this hall. Once you've gone down the runway, you will have to choose from a list of types and which type you want to battle. As the player only uses a single Pokemon against a variety of different opponents, the primary advantage comes from many of those opponents being significantly lower level than what we have. The main choice in the beginning is whether you want to knock out a streak of 10 as early as possible with the type you're good against, or take out the types that you're not so good against as early as possible so you don't have to deal with them later. As you win against each type, that type raises in rank. You can max out at rank 10, causing the Pokemon to be sent out a lot harder than what was just sent out before. Believe it or not, there is a genuine formula on how levels are determined when ranking up, and believe me, I don't know what any of this means. It's not like damage calculating. I mentioned to bring a Pokemon with great type advantage for 2 reasons. One, so you have an easy way of dealing with a numerous amount of types. And the second reason is that when you pick a type, there sometimes could be a secondary type that could absolutely mess you up. So if you walk into this challenge with an Ampharos and its only attacking move is Discharge, and you keep going for the water type and you run into a Quagsire, you're kinda screwed. Or you could run into a Pokemon with no weakness, like Spiritomb. This is probably the least multiplayer friendly, because if you want to do a multi-battle and you have 2 people for a team up, they must both enter the same species of Pokemon, which is so dumb. But also at the same time, it's completely fair, because having 2 completely opposite Pokemon being able to take out like more than a majority of the types, that would be also broken. So I guess they kind of had to find an even somewhere. This is also why I recommend taking out the type you're bad against very early on. Levels aren't how the Pokemon get stronger primarily, it's actually their base stat totals. The base stat totals are divided into 4 different groups. Group 1 would be base stat totals of 340 and below, which you see in ranks 1 through 5. 340 and 439 would appear in Group 2, which would be ranks 3 through 8. Base stat totals of 440 and 499, which is Group 3, would appear in ranks 6 through 10. And Pokemon with a base stat total of 500 or higher are in Group 4, and these are restricted to ranks 9 and 10. I honestly like this restriction of strength way better than level caps. It feels a lot more fitting to the challenge. When comparing the 7 sets of 3 to the 1 set of 10, I used 30 as a reference, and I don't want that to mislead anybody. The brain battle does not happen until you've hit 50 battles. I do not know what they were thinking when they made this limit, but we just have to deal with it, I guess. Argenta is actually quite a unique Frontier Brain. She does not have a set team like the other Frontier Brains, and in fact uses a Pokemon chosen at random, but within the same base stat total grouping that the player picks. So if your Pokemon is in the 440 to 499 range, she's going to randomly pick a Pokemon from that base stat total range, and you just duel it out. And I actually really like this. Her Pokemon will always match the level of the player Pokemon's, but otherwise it's chosen at random without regard for the player's selected type. If you ever think about challenging her again, well, you have to win 170 consecutive battles. Why? If you do somehow, some way make it here, her second challenge, she will only use a Pokemon with a base stat total of 500 or greater, and then she gives you the gold print if you win. There are fans in the Battle Hall. The player will gain fans as their total record or their winning streak increases. And as much as I want to say there's some use to this, I have tried looking everywhere and I just cannot find a single use for them other than just being there. There are some notable people that you can get the more fans you get. If you get over 1,000 fans, the player can get the character's mother, the other protagonist, Ethan or Lyra, it's gender dependent, and if you get over 10,000, you can get Professor Oak or Whitney. I don't know, I guess it's cool seeing him in the crowd.
And with that,
We have experienced every single tower, every single stall, house, whatever you want to call it. We have experienced all of it. It has everything to do in the frontier and everything around the frontier. There are also like the basic marts that you can do and stuff like that. But I wanted to show this off just because so I could start using it off camera. Because I love the frontier. I love battling at the frontier. It's so amazing. I wish it would come back, but you know, it won't. Anyways, next time on Pokemon Heartgold Soulsilver, we finally have done everything in Johto. Yeah, that's literally the only thing that unlocked in Johto. So, we're gonna go aboard the SS Anne like Professor Elm had given us. See you guys then.